It's a weird thing, to grieve someone who's still alive. I still think about Chloe often, even now, a whole year later. There are moments when the sadness just hits me in giant waves. It's hard to reconcile the person I thought was my best friend for 12 years with the way things ultimately ended. The confusion, it's just overwhelming sometimes. I still replay everything in my head, trying to make sense of how we went from talking every single day to her just blocking me everywhere, gone. It feels like a part of my past has just been erased, and I'm left holding all these memories that don't quite fit the ending. We met at 19, roommates in college. Her name is Chloe, and mine's Sarah. Most of our friendship was long distance, with her living all the way in Seattle, Washington, while I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona. But that never really mattered. We were best friends. We'd been through so much together. She helped me escape a difficult home environment when I was 20, and a few years back, when I was in such a dark place mentally, I had to go for inpatient treatment. I was there for her too, through every breakup, friends and partners alike, through her dad nearly dying, and the loss of her beloved pets. To say we were there for each other through everything feels like an understatement. Of course, we weren't the same 19-year-olds anymore. We'd had our moments. I remember for my 30th birthday, I planned a trip to Universal Orlando Resort. That place holds a special meaning for my family and me, and for us, actually. Chloe's birthday is just a week before mine, and I was technically flying in on her birthday, but we weren't planning on seeing each other that day, or even going into the park. I told her about my plans months in advance, and she just cried. She went silent for a few days, having this massive meltdown because she couldn't handle me going to Universal on her birthday when she couldn't. So, she and her then partner, Alex, decided the only way she could cope was to max out a credit card and go themselves, about 6 months before my trip. And that's actually where they got engaged. I was honestly confused and a little upset back then. I didn't understand why my plans had to cause such a huge reaction. But she went, and I didn't care. If that's what she needed, then fine. I let it go, and we went back to normal. There was another tough period, about a year ago, when I lost my job. I really spiraled into deep despair, and I probably leaned on her too much, shared too much of my trauma. It strained our friendship, and rightfully so. After a lot of apologies and working through things in therapy, we got back on track. So, yeah, I'm not saying I've been a perfect friend. I've made my mistakes. But I always made an effort to acknowledge them and work through them. I'm in a much healthier place now, thanks to ongoing therapy for my depression and anxiety. Now, fast forward to this past year. My husband, Mark, and I have been married for almost 7 years. Chloe was my maid of honor. She knew how much I wanted children. She, on the other hand, never wanted any, which was totally fine. We had tried for a baby a couple of years ago but stopped when I lost my job. Once I had a new job and things felt stable, we decided to try again in October 2024. Again, she knew our plans. Living in Alabama, where abortion is completely illegal, added another layer of urgency for us. We didn't want to risk having children past 35, given the medical realities and the lack of options here. I'm already 31, so the plan was to start trying now. Chloe and Alex have been engaged for nearly 2 years, their wedding was set for this year. I was going to be her maid of honor, just as she had been mine. Then, on January 2nd, I found out I was pregnant. Mark and I were just over the moon. I told my sister, Emily, first, and then Chloe. My thought was, if the worst happened, these 2 women would be my pillars of support. The first thing Chloe said when she answered the phone was, "So, when are you due?" She immediately started calculating how it would affect her wedding. My due date was supposed to be about 6 weeks before her wedding. I could tell instantly that she was upset. I have this tendency to people please, especially when there's trauma involved, and I could just feel her frustration. I immediately started trying to reassure her, telling her I knew the timing wasn't ideal, that I didn't even want a September baby because of all the family birthdays that month. I basically begged her to believe it would be okay, even asking her outright if she was mad at me, because I knew she was. After that call, she ghosted me for 4 days. Barely responded to texts. Finally, she told me to call her. I spent an hour and a half just coddling her, promising her I would not miss her wedding, that this changed nothing. I explained that I'd just wear postpartum diapers under my dress if I had to. We weren't big drinkers, and her bachelorette party wasn't some wild Vegas rager, so I couldn't see how me being pregnant for that, or having a newborn by her wedding, would truly affect anything. We have a strong family support system. We'd have family watch the baby, or even fly them up there so I could be present for her. There was zero intention of missing it, and I felt like I had to practically beg her to understand, apologizing for supposedly throwing a wrench into their wedding plans. The very next day, on the anniversary of our friendship, she texted me again. She wanted another follow-up call, because apparently, she was okay, but Alex still couldn't handle it. She wanted me to talk him down, just like I had her. I didn't want to. Her whole reaction had been so incredibly stressful. I didn't want to spend another hour and a half coddling her fiancé, who, while a friend, wasn't my best friend. I basically told her, I'm not sure what I can say to him at this point that I haven't already said to you. That's when she really laid it out. She felt like Mark and I hadn't considered her wedding, which was still 10 months away, when we decided to get pregnant. She said I wasn't being realistic about being there, that 2025 is a big year, and that people automatically think a pregnancy is more important than a wedding, and she didn't want attention taken away from her. Essentially, 2025 was supposed to be her year, and my pregnancy was somehow ruining it. This made no sense to me. We don't share social circles. I would never expect her to pause her life for my major events. It really stunned that she expected me to put my life on hold for a whole year just so she and Alex could have their year. I told her exactly that in my reply. I said her reaction made me regret telling her about the pregnancy, and honestly, even getting pregnant in the first place. I told her it wasn't fair to expect me to pause my life, especially living in a state like Alabama where it's dangerous to be a woman without access to crucial medical care. Best friends, especially in their 30s, go through major life events all the time: marriages, babies, new jobs, moves, divorces. They happen concurrently, and it doesn't diminish anyone else's experience. It's okay to celebrate each other. She told me she needed time to process. I said, that's okay. Take your time. I'll be here. 2 days later, I miscarried. It was one of the absolute worst experiences of my life, and I'm still not over it. I still cry thinking about the baby I lost, and the fear that I might never have a baby, or a family, lingers. It's a wound I know I'll carry forever. I texted her at 4 a.m. when it was happening, telling her I was pretty sure I was miscarrying, but that I didn't want to talk about it. Honestly, after her initial reaction, I didn't trust talking to her about it. I didn't trust what she might say. I probably shouldn't have said anything at all, but I was bleeding heavily, alone in the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I just texted my best friend. She didn't text me back until 2:30 the next afternoon. Her text was so generic, I didn't know what to say. If you think this is happening, then I'm sorry. That was it. I didn't respond to most people that day. I was actively bleeding, crying, and terrified. But Chloe never checked in again. No texts, no calls, nothing to see if I was okay, if it was confirmed, if Mark was okay. Just that one generic, if that's what's happening, then I'm sorry. 3 days later, my OB confirmed the loss. I shared my experience on social media. For 10 years, I've always been open on social media when I'm struggling. When I went through treatment, I shared. It's not about anyone else, it's about me being honest and showing that these things aren't shameful. She saw my post, you can see who views your stories, but still, no text, no call, nothing. It had been over 2 weeks of complete silence. We went from talking every single day for 12 years to her completely ghosting me during the worst time of my life. So, today, I finally sent a text, hey, I don't know what's going on, but your silence for 2 weeks has been upsetting me. I gave you time to figure out a response, and I'm confused why it's taken this long, but I'll be here when you're ready." And then I got these texts back from her. I'm just going to read them to you. So, yes, I did need time to process the last thing you said to me. You said you felt like you were made to feel regret about being pregnant and regretted ever telling me, but you didn't express any of this until the day I said I wanted to talk about all of it with you directly because it does affect him, too. It's his wedding year, too. So, you were fine until being confronted with reality. The person who is supposed to be my best friend just instead chose to blame me and my partner for her own feelings about her own pregnancy, which is absolutely not my responsibility to manage. You said something like, "It's not on me to make him okay with this." And in the same breath said, "You were made to feel bad about your own pregnancy when you should feel joy." How is that our responsibility? But just having a realistic conversation as adults was just asking way too much from you. None of it makes any sense. And it doesn't matter what I say. The responsibility will never fall on you, and I always come out as the bad guy because that's just how it is when you make a decision that ultimately hurts me. And I just push it down and swallow it because it's just not worth the cost. But I can't just swallow it this time. And then you sent me "Don't feel comfortable talking about it and feel very incredibly alone and sad right now." So I let you know that I really did feel bad about what was happening, but you never replied and didn't want to talk to me about it. Fine. But then you posted on social several times about it instead, and now you're disappointed and upset and confused that you haven't heard from me. It's incredibly childish, and I don't want any part in that. This whole thing has been blown out of proportion when all I wanted from the start was for you to acknowledge reality instead of the delusional fantasy that nothing would change and everything will be fine and nothing will stop me from being there. Not willing to discuss any backup plans, not willing to discuss the reality, but just gaslighting our concerns to oblivion. No one in their right mind who has actually given birth would make promises like that. But you shut that down with blind optimism and never actually listened to the real issues. You just made it about you and the fact that you were pregnant, and it was allegedly my fault you were so upset. You've been trying to manipulate how I feel by love-bombing me and telling me you're hurt and by begging me to not be mad when you first told me your test was positive so that automatically I'm the bad guy for being upset no matter what. It's bonkers, actually. But it's not even worth talking about anymore because no matter what I say, you always end up the victim. Anytime you make a choice that hurts me because yes, you've done it several times over the years, you always have some convenient justifications for it and it gets flipped to me being the problem for being upset and you're the one who's being hurt. So yeah, I'm tired and I'm done. I was, and still am, so incredibly confused. Manipulated? Love-bombed? She thinks I was trying to manipulate her by trying to calm her down about my own pregnancy announcement? That I'm always the victim? I mean, during that initial hour-and-a-half call, she actually told me that she and Alex had been talking about why did he have to come inside you during December or something like that. She said it, and I was just stunned. I should have ended the call right there, but I kept trying to be empathetic. They were mad that two married adults had unprotected sex 11 months before their wedding. Looking back, I can see now how unfair I was to myself, making myself small, trying to appease someone over something that wasn't wrong to begin with. So, here we are, a year later. After I sent that last text, hoping to work things out, she blocked me on every single platform. Everything. I don't even know if that last text went through, honestly. My iPhone texts usually turn blue, but that one stayed black. Regardless, she was gone. Just ghosted me completely. The irony is, her biggest fear was that my pregnancy would make me miss her wedding. Well, it did, because I haven't spoken to her since January of last year. I know she got married, but I wasn't there. I still don't understand her decisions. I probably never will. It's been a year of healing, though. Therapy and the support of Mark and my family have helped me process the grief. It's weird, you know, grieving someone who's still alive, but that's what it felt like. She decided our 12-year friendship wasn't salvageable, and I had no say in it. This past year was a lot. Beyond the miscarriage and losing Chloe, my biological mother passed away. I also got laid off from my job. Going through all of that without her really showed me what I'm capable of, and it highlighted the real friendships and family I have who truly show up. And the very best update, the absolute best news, my rainbow baby is due any second now. Yes, you heard that right. The baby I was so scared would never happen for us, after the miscarriage, she's coming. Soon. It makes me sad that my daughter won't know Chloe, but honestly, I'm more sad for Chloe that she'll never know my daughter. I truly wish things had been different, but I also know I don't want anyone in my daughter's life who doesn't truly love and care about her, and I'm certain Chloe wouldn't, not now. The layoff while pregnant was incredibly stressful, but I'm about to land a new job too, final interview this week. Things are finally starting to feel like they're falling into place. This whole experience, all the processing and therapy, it's helped me look inward, to be stronger for my daughter and Mark, and for myself. It just makes me wonder, what would you even say to someone after they send a text like that?